Righto guys, welcome back to the channel. This is just a quick how-to instructional video on how to use our bee feeders should you choose to purchase one. All right, let me readjust this camera. We'll have a look inside and see what you get. Righto, so on the outside of our bucket you will see a million 3.5mm holes, and we have a coating of our manufactured propolis around the outside of the bucket, and that is to attract the bees to your feeder. It doesn't hurt at all to put an extra attractant on your feeder, just on the top of the lid. Something like an old hive is good. Anything that's got some resin in it. Kadaki resin is particularly good at attracting bees. But anyway, so let's have a look. Here is your lid. On the lid, I just sit it on like that. I don't bother clipping it down. I've never ever had one come off, but these lids are a bit of a pain to get off, but you certainly can clip it down if you want to. I don't bother, I just sit it on there like that. It does collect water, obviously, so be mindful of that. If it is full of water, just chuff it off quickly. Okay, so there's the lid for your feeder. Here's the bucket. In your feeder kit, you will get 8 little sponges. Okay, just make sure you can see that. You can see that, that's good. And you will get the Perspex feeder disc, okay? So, with your sponges, they will be dry when you receive them, and you need to hydrate the sponges first before you use them. So I'll just show you how to do that. Okay, the hydration process. I'll just move that disc out of the way. It's this simple. Just get a jug of water and just plonk your sponges in there, push them down, let them absorb all that they're going to absorb, and then just pull them out, give them a really good squeeze. Get as much water out of them as you can. So you don't want them to be dry, you don't want them to be wet, you want them to be moist. Righto. Now, the next thing you have to do is you have to put the sponges into the feeder disc. So really easy, you just slide one end of the sponge up into the disc, like so, and then pull it back through. So there's about, let's see if you can see that. So you want about 10mm of sponge poking out through the top of the disc. And the other way you can look at it is if you keep the bottom of the sponge sort of level with the bottom of this bolt here, okay? So the bolts hold the disc off the bottom of the bucket. So if you put the sponge about level with the bottom of the bolts, you'll be sweet. But yeah, or about 10mm hanging out the top. Okay, so once you've got all of your sponges in, make sure you put all of them in, right? You don't want to leave any, you don't want to leave one of these slits vacant, or your bees will fall down inside there and drown. So whack all your sponges in there. Okay, let's continue on. We've got our disc loaded with our sponges. They're all hanging about 10mm out the top of the disc, and the bottom of the sponges are about level with the 4 bolts in the bottom there. Let's have a look inside your bucket here. So you will see, hopefully, you see that red mark there? There's a red line inside the bucket. Let me just show you that a bit better. There's a red line inside the bucket there. That red line represents the top of the Perspex disc, okay? So you want to keep your fluid level about 10mm below that line, so about to there. And that equates to approximately 2.5 litres, 2.4, 2.5. Okay, I've just moved the bucket down onto the floor so we can see better from an aerial perspective. So you've got your bucket, you've put your 2.5 litres or 2.4 litres of food into it. You've got your disc with your sponges that are moist. You just plonk your disc in there slowly and press it down until those 4 bolts in the bottom of the disc contact the bottom of the bucket, and you're done. That's it. Those sponges will wick that sugar syrup up, and then your bees just go and drink from the sides or the top of the sponges, and you're done. So cleaning, really easy. Once your fluid level gets down in the bottom of your feeder here, pull your disc out, pull all of your sponges out, give them a rinse in water, and then put them back into your disc and hose out the bottom of your bucket and tip out whatever's remaining in there, and then just refill it with your fluid, put your disc back in, and you're good to go again. Now, one other thing I will just give you a quick tip on. When it's hot and dry, okay, like low humidity and lots of heat, the atmospheric conditions will suck the water in that sugar syrup out, okay? And what that can do is it can leave the top of the sponges here sort of dry and crusty, because as the water evaporates, you're left with the sugar, okay? So the top of the sponge can get hard and can stop wicking up the sugar syrup. So in those conditions, you want to keep a close eye, and you should be checking this feeder daily, okay? Daily. If the top of your sponges go crusty, you can either pull the disc out and service your sponges and put them back in, or you can get a little bit of water and just dribble it onto the top of the sponges and give them a little squeeze just to get that water in there and break that sugar up, okay? But that's only been a problem in really hot, dry conditions, okay? So you shouldn't have an issue at any other time of the year apart from those hot, dry conditions. So keep an eye on your sponges, look at your feeder daily, give your sponges a little squeeze just to make sure they're nice and wet with the sugar solution. They do attract ants, obviously, so that's up to you to manage that. I don't really bother, to be honest with you. I don't get heaps of ants in mine, but the bees and the ants seem to coexist fine, and everyone gets a feed. So, but you could probably sit that in a little bucket, a little saucer of water underneath it or something. I don't know, that's up to you. All right, guys, that's it. I can't think of anything else that's relevant. Yeah, that's it. Have a good one. Happy feeding. Be good to yourselves and be good to your bees. Catch you later. Test, test, test. Stand about here. Flashes and on. Fuck quit.